Welcome back to Couch Talk, everybody. I just read the article that James Gunn has been hired to do Suicide Squad 2 for Warner Brothers. For the people that don't know, he is not the creator of the Guardians of the Galaxy, but he brought them to the big screen. He wrote and directed Guardians of the Galaxy 1, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. He helped cast everybody, and he really brought one of the most successful Marvel franchises to life. He was supposed to foresee the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe when the Russo brothers stepped down and bring in the era of galactic heroes. And then Disney found out that 10 years ago he made jokes about pedophilia. So they fired him. And before I get into this whole Suicide Squad 2 thing, I'm going to start off by saying what he did was disgusting. The jokes that he said were wrong. But was it grounds to get fired? No. However, I understand why they do it. Marvel is owned by Disney, and Disney is a company for children. No matter how you look at it, it is a family-friendly, very children-influenced studio, and they do not want to employ somebody that brings bad press on. Especially someone that makes jokes about pedophilia, which is, having sex with minors, and you're working for the biggest kids studio in the world. But just because you say a joke about pedophilia doesn't mean you're a pedophile, as opposed to, usually if you say a joke about something racist, chances are you're a little racist. Kind of like with the whole Roseanne controversy. I understand why they did it, I really do, but I don't think it's grounds for being fired. I think it was a joke, it was a very poor joke. It's kind of like when I was in high school, I was really into this one girl, and I had lunch with her, and we sat at the same lunch table, but there was another kid that also had a crush on this girl. I remember it was really all about who can capture her interest or who can get her attention first. So what did I do? I did the most extreme thing to bring all the attention to me, and I started a food fight in the cafeteria. And my point is, people go to the extreme to get the attention of people, and all those years ago when he made these jokes, he was a struggling comedian. So what he did was he said some extreme things to get his name in the headlines, because bad publicity is still publicity, and that's exactly what happened. He put his name on the map, and then he switched his game up and started lightening up on the horrifically horrible, insensitive jokes and went more the natural route, because he already had a fan base at this point. And then he started making movies, and then, he landed the gig with Marvel to make Guardians of the Galaxy, and it was a huge hit. And the thing about Guardians of the Galaxy is it's really a movie about a bunch of misfits and outcasts and scumbags that have to grow up and mature and do the right thing and save the world, and that's kind of a reflection of what happened to him. And, I could say this 1,000 times, I understand why they fired him, but I don't think it was grounds to fire him. I think that he should have been punished, maybe took a pay cut for Guardians, maybe they told him he couldn't direct this, but he could still be on board to produce, write, and then maybe he could direct another movie. But I would be so upset if I got fired for something I did 10 years ago. People change, people mature, people grow up. I know there are a lot of parents out there that are like, oh, the fact that he said those jokes are disgusting, but it's like, chances are everyone in this world has said something that if we worked for Disney, we would be fired too. People say things to get attention, and people make mistakes, but there's supposed to be forgiveness. And he formally apologized, but it just wasn't enough. And I understand why they did it, but honestly, this is Disney's loss, man. This is Marvel's loss. They let him go, and a lot of people were concerned, like, no one's going to want to work with James Gunn again. Here comes DC to the plate, and I saw a lot of people saying that, like, DC is just doing this to, like, spit Marvel's face and, like, try to get ahead of them, and yeah, maybe that is a little bit of the reason behind it, but it's also a really smart business choice. A lot of people said that Suicide Squad was the answer to the Guardians of the Galaxy of Marvel. Like, it's a band of misfits that have to band together to save the world. And the first one made a lot of money, so say what you will about the movie sucking, but there is, but the concept of the Suicide Squad is big enough to warrant making another one, because it made $750 million. So the audience is there. People want to see this, and they want to see it done right. And he is so good at handling characters like this and a scope like this that I think it could really work. And I think that they knew that, and, You have the fan base and the people that signed the petition to bring him back on. I think it had over like 500,000 signatures. And then you have all the people that have shown support that didn't sign. You have James Gunn's fan base. You have the Suicide Squad fan base. And then you have the people that just don't give a shit about all the controversy in general and just want to see a good movie. This movie for sure, no matter what the controversy surrounding him is going to be profitable, especially with James Gunn attached. Plus, everyone loves a redemption story, and this is like he is probably so happy that he's just getting the chance to make a movie this big again, because before this, he was probably going to be subdued to making low budget, like, little movies that studios were probably afraid to, hire him, because everyone's afraid that, if he makes a movie for them, that no one's going to go and see it. But Warner Brothers is taking a chance on him, and I think it's going to greatly pay off. I heard that he loves Jonah Hex and Swamp Thing, in the DCEU, and that's who he would like to add. So I'm wondering if he is going to replace some of the characters in the Suicide Squad, or if it's going to be like a soft reboot where they don't necessarily like reboot the whole thing and make it like the first one never happened, but just make a Suicide Squad with different characters, but leave the other ones alone. Like the whole first movie still happened, but now it's going to be like a new team trying to save the day. Kind of like the Triple X movies, where like the first one was Vin Diesel, second one was Ice Cube. Kind of like that. Same universe, different characters. Again, don't get me wrong. I think what he did was disgusting. I think the jokes he said were terrible and distasteful and wrong. But they were jokes, and I can't hate somebody for saying a bad joke. And it's not like he did it a month ago or a year ago. It's been 10 years. He evolved. He moved on. People change. I've seen people with the purest hearts turn into the biggest complete pieces of shit, and I've seen people with the biggest pieces of shit that goes through something tragic, like a family death or something, and it just changes them for the better. And then now they volunteer and go on cancer walks and all this stuff. And people change, and you can't fault someone for something they did so many years ago. And like I said, this is Marvel's loss, because this is a redemption story for James Gunn, and I, honest to God, think that he is going to knock this out of the park, because now he has something to prove. Now he has a reason to pour his whole heart into this project and show, look, I still got it, I'm not going to let this get me down, and I, for one, cannot wait to see what the finished product is. Also, as a side note, Gavin O'Connor, who did The Accountant and Warrior, was signed on to write and direct this, and a lot of people are saying that they feel bad that he got punked, because they obviously let him go to bring James Gunn on, and that's wrong that they did that. When that isn't the case, apparently Gavin O'Connor and his team handed in a rough script of their version of Suicide Squad 2, and it was very, 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 very similar to the Birds of Prey movie that's coming out, starring Margot Robbie reprising her role as Harley Quinn, and like Batwoman and all that, and Poison Ivy. It was very similar, and they pretty much told him, like, we can't use this script because it's too much like the Birds of Prey movie. And he got frustrated because he spent a long time working on it, just for them to be like, no, this doesn't work, make something else. And he walked away from the project to make another passion project with returning actor Ben Affleck. So they didn't punk him, they let him go because he couldn't come up with an original idea. And it just so happened that James Gunn became available right after that. And I think that was, God opening the gates of heaven and saying, here's a break, here's James Gunn. This is the start of the new DCEU era where you guys make good movies. At least that's what I hope. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Are you excited for this? Do you care about all the controversy surrounding James Gunn's character? What characters do you want to see him bring to the next Suicide Squad 2? And as always, I'll catch you next time.